and the .NET tutorials by Mohan Reddy at 7 p.m. So already we uploaded whatever we completed the basic sessions of videos. I strongly recommend to watch these videos. Okay. So after watching these videos, this is just a theoretical part only. So basic sessions, how to open Visual Studio, how to work with basic programs in C#.NET we discuss, and I'm continuing from that only. So you can download it clearly. You can watch these videos before going to continue these sessions. And anyway, you will get these all videos also. Okay, so you will get all these videos to your Google Drive. Once your registration completed with us, then you'll get all videos also from the beginning. I'll send to you. You need not to worry that. Okay, so I'm going to continue my session where I stopped previously. So let's flip to Visual Studio. Visual Studio is a software where we write a .NET program. So I'm opening Visual Studio right now. So to open existing project using Visual Studio, then you can see left hand side recently open projects are available. So already I created one console application in C#.NET. Yes. Yes. You will receive now. Okay. Already I have videos, complete videos. You will receive that videos by today night after 1 hour of this class. Okay. Don't worry that. And you have any doubts, I'll wait here. You can ask me, no problem at all. Okay. So even every session after I used to ask the doubts. If you have any doubt, means you have to respond immediately, or else in the middle, if you have any doubts, you have to type in the chat box so that I'll get it clear idea. So if you, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's record this video. Yes, already it's recorded, no problem at all. So this is, I'm continuing that session, okay, where I stopped previously. To open existing application, then you can see this open a project solution, or else here left hand side, you have recent projects are available, what we prepared. So I have recent project which I opened console application 1 .NET at 7 p.m. only. Just click on there. So once you click on, so it will be open this clearly here. And in the previous session, we started with the control statements in C#.NET. We discussed basic control statements also. Let me write once what are the control statements are there and how to work with that control statements. We'll continue that. So control statements, these are control statements are used to what we can say. Control statements are used to maintain the control flow of program execution. Control statements are three types actually. One is conditional statements. Conditional statements. Next one is iterative statements. Iterative statements. Next one is transfer statements. Transfer statements. Transfer statements here. So these are the control statements. So conditional statements are if else, nested if, then switch case. So these are the conditional statements. Already in the last session, we discussed about if else, nested if. Today, I need to start from switch case. I'll start it, no problem. And iterative statements are these: for loop, next while loop, next do while loop, next for each loop also there. These are iterative statements. Transfer statements are these: break and continue. Break and continue. So in the last session, we discussed like if else, nested if, and today we'll start with if switch case. So what is the switch case? How to work with switch condition will tell. Switch is nothing but it is used to execute only one statement from multiple conditions. So you have to write your own cases, case 1, case 2, case 3, and so on. Which case is true, then that case is going to execute. Remaining cases will not execute. In that context, we can use switch. How do we work with switch case? You can see, let's write simple program. Here I'm taking a runtime value. Here I'm just taking runtime value. That runtime value is A. So enter a number. So I'm going to store that number into a variable called A, that is integer data type. I'm writing switch condition here. Switch of A. Switch of A, open bracket and close bracket. Now I'm taking case 10. Case 10. If your case, if your input is number 10, then what I need to do? So I'm just saying it is 10. It is 10. Then after that, I need to completely break this. Break means what? If your case is correct only, that is case 10 only, I need to stop the execution here itself. If it is not, then I need to go for next case. So next case, I'm taking case 20. Then again, I'm writing console.writeLine, console.writeLine. It is 20. Then close it and break it now. So I'm just breaking now. This is my case 2, second case. Case 30. Now in this case 30, what I'm taking console.writeLine. Now you can see it is 30. I'm saying it is 30. Then break I'm using. Break. This is break. For example, if my input is not 10, not 20, not 30, so I need to go for default case. So we have to write default case here. Default, default, default. Then what I need to do is console.writeLine. So just my output is uh, it is not 10, 20, and 30. This is not at all. So I need to break it now. Here, let's go for break. So this is what switch case here. Switch case is used to execute only one statement from multiple conditions. Multiple conditions are here. Three conditions are there: case 10, case 20, case 30, and default case also is there. So let's run this one. I'm just giving input. So wantedly I'm giving invalid input. It is not about 10 and 20 and 30. Just I want to give other value like 40 or 50 I'm giving. Let's see this what case is going to execute. Default case is going to execute. So it's same like multiple if conditions only similarly. So here my case is for example 50. So this number whatever we enter that it is not 10 and 20 and 30. Again if I'm trying to go for this one here, my case is for example 20, then it is 20 like this only it's coming. Any cases we can able to execute like this. Okay, just I'm showing that example. But actually switch case is very rarely used in our C#.NET programs. Better to use if else nested if multiple ifs only we can use better. We can see this. Switch is rarely used concept in C#.NET. If you want to go for multiple condition checking, then in that case, then we can use switch case only. Otherwise, directly we can use if else part only. We can better to use that only. So next we'll go for iterative statements. These are conditional statements what all discuss. Based on the conditions only, your program, your logic is going to work out. That's what I'm saying that these are the conditional statements. But coming to the iterative statements. Iterative statements are loops like for loop, while loop. Yes, I'll tell. Our team will mail you course content and the duration and everything. Don't worry. The duration is completely 2 months duration. In this duration, we are going to cover C#.NET complete and ASP.NET complete and SQL Server complete with ADV.NET with the database interaction. And every day the same recorded video I'll send to your Google Drive only. You need not to worry. For more details, you can keep in touch with our team so they'll assist you clearly. Okay, no problem. Iterative statements like for loop, while loop, do while loop, for each loop is there. So why iteration statements? Iteration means what? Iteration means one by one. Suppose we have an array. I'll tell you in what case we can use for loop these loops concept like iterative statements. In what concept, what case we use? Okay. Suppose we have array. Array name is A. Array is having like this only. No. We are not going to cover any entity framework. Yes. So look at here. A value 10 to 90 is coming. So these are the list of values like array elements here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. But if I want to print these all values in my output, means in my output window, I want to print these values. How many number of elements are there? That many console write line statements you have to write, like console.writeLine. Array index starts with 0, like here 1. First element is 0. Just wait, someone is asking the questions. Okay, no problem. You can call them, you can interact, you can take the details from them. Now you can see 0 index always, 1 index, 2 index, 3 index, 4 index, 5 index, 6 index, 7 index, like 8 index. So index based array here it is. But what I mean to say, In this array collection, if you want to print all these elements in the output window, how many number of elements are there? That many console.writeLine statements you have to write, like A is array name, like 0 index. Okay. Similarly, you have to write the number of lines of code. You can see this, how many elements are there? That many number of lines of code we have to write it. Why we have to write like this only? Because all elements, if you want to print, you must and should write this only. A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3, like this and so on. How many number of elements? But this is not good practice in reality, because how many number of elements are there in the array? That many console.writeLine statements need not to write. If you have hardly 5 to 6 elements are there, you can write 5 to 6 lines, no problem. But you imagine that 100 elements are there. Will you write 100 console.writeLine statements? No, that's not correct. So that's what we can go. We can go for this iterative statement. So once if you go for this iterative statements like for loop, while loop, these are loops concept, then one loop, one logic part is enough to display all the elements at once. So no need to write number of console.writeLine statements repeatedly. So that is the advantage of loops concept here only. For loop is used to iterate the elements of the collection, what the order they appear. Now you can see first I'm talking about for loop. So what is the use of for loop? For loop is used to iterate. Iterate means one by one values. Iterate the elements. Elements means values of collection. Collection means any collection like arrays, list or something. So for loop is used to iterate the elements of collection, what the order, what the order, what the order they appear. What the order they appear, I'm saying that. For loop is used to iterate the elements of collection, what the order they appear. What the order they appear? Same order, 10 to 90, same order only, one by one it's going to display using for loop. That syntax of for loop is like this: for initialize, initialization, then after that condition, condition, then after that increment or decrement. Yes, increment or decrement, we can say that. Increment or decrement, we can pass it, no problem. Open bracket and close bracket. In this, any valid statements for loop. This is the for loop syntax, sir. For initialization, condition, and increment or decrement. Then next statements you have to provide. Let's see this one simple condition, how I'm going to initialize this, how to execute this for loop values. Let's try to do this. Now here I'm taking for loop syntax here. Let me modify this. I want to initialize the value like int I equals to 0. I have to start with 0, my value. Condition I less than or equal to 10. Condition I less than or equal to 10. So I want increment every time I value. Now I plus plus, I plus plus. Int I equals 0, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. Now what are the statements I want to print here? You can see console.writeLine, console.writeLine, I plus some space in between element to element. Why I'm giving space, I'll tell you. Just if I print I value, then what will happen? You can see this. That's going to be display all values till the condition reaches to true, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But it is line by line, it's printing. But if you want to print within the same line only, then you can use write statement. If I use write, then it is available in the same line only. But look at here, there is no space in between the elements. So that's what I'm giving some space between the elements. Let's run this one. There is some space between the elements clearly here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like this. But how that loop will be iterated, let me keep the breakpoint. So here I'm keeping the breakpoint here. Let's run this one. First initialization part is takes place like I equals to 0. So I value 0 is there. So when we if you want to move to next line, then press control function key plus F11 from your keyboard. I'm just pressing function key plus F11 to move to next. So it will check the condition immediately. So I value 0 here. 0 less than or equal to 10, it is true. If condition is true, immediately control is jump into here console.write I value. So I value is going to print what value? 0 value only. Now you can see 0 value is printing. Once 0 value printing, after that immediately I is increment by 1. So I will become what? 1. 1 less than or equal to 10. So like this true. Again, it is going to display one value. How long it is going to iterate? Like till the condition reaches to false only. So sometimes we'll be able to see this 11. 11 means what? I value 11 means, so 11 less than or equal to 10, it is false. But 10 less than or equal to 10 true. Now this time we can say 11 less than or equal to 10 false it is. Look at here, I value 11. I value 11 less than or equal to false. 10 false that is. Once it is false, control will jump into out of the loop. Then it's going to display here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 like this. Number of values. Here, how many number of values you want, you can print in the output window. For example, 100 values I want to print. You can take 100. Directly using for loop only you can print the values. But imagine that there is no for loop available. But what we need to do to print these values in this output window 100 times console.writeLine, console.writeLine, how to write. That's not good idea actually. Okay, that's what we are using simple loop clearly. Initialization part I'm taking. From where you want initialize, that you can decide it. Not only 0. If you want initialize from 10, then you can initialize. But you want to check the condition like 20, then you can go for 10 to 20 values are going to be displayed here. That is your wish, no problem at all. Okay. So this is for loop iterating the values. So where we can use this for loop concept means in the collection part, like arrays, list, so many collections are there, no group of records. So you have 100 records to read from database, but 100 records one by one, if you want to print, then that many number of statements you have to write. But instead of number of statements, we can write simple for loop to get that 100 records one by one clearly. So for loop is just for iteration. Iteration means one by one values we are going to display using for loop only. Sometimes we can use nested for loop also in our coding part. Nested for loop. Nested for loop means what, here, nested for loop. Nested for loop. Nested for loop means a loop which is having one more loop within it is called nested for loop. A for loop, a for loop which is having one more for loop within it. One more for loop within it is called nested for loop. Is called nested for loop, I can say that. A for loop which is having one more for loop within it is called nested for loop. So again, the syntax is very clear. Loop within the loop. Loop within the loop. Now you can see this is one loop. Inside I'm taking one more loop. So this for loop is inner loop, outer loop concept here. This is inner loop completely. Now here it is outer loop. This is outer loop and inner loop. This is only here. So this is nested for loop, we can say that. Generally nested for loop where we can use in the 2-dimension array format. Yes, in C#.NET we go for arrays. Single dimension array purpose, one loop is enough. One for loop is enough. But 2-dimension array purpose, compulsory 2 loops are required. That should be in the nested loop concept. Like outer loop and inner loop both should be used compulsory in the 2-dimension array context purpose. So let's see this how it will work, inner loop and outer loop mechanism. So for example, you can see I'm going to start with the I value 1 only, and I want to go with the 3 only. I less than or equal to 3, I plus plus. Now look at here, this is only single loop only I'm using, like I value 1, 2, 3. So let's see this console.writeLine only I'm taking. So this is 1, 2, 3 values are coming here. 1, 2, 3 values are coming. It's okay, no problem. I values 1, 2, 3. It's coming. Now inner loop I'm taking here. For int j equals to, I'm saying that 10. I want to start with the 10. J less than or equal to 13. J less than or equal to 12, better to take. J less than or equal to 12. J plus plus I'm taking. Now I'm taking here same condition. Here both I value and j value both I'm going to take that. Now you can see. Let's go for here I plus, now j also I'm taking. J also. I plus j. So let's look at here how it is going to execute. And one more important point I'm telling here. How the execution flow will happen. This is nested loop. No, how the execution flow will happen. In this execution flow, this is outer loop. You can consider this first loop is called outer loop and second loop is called inner loop. for every iteration of outer loop, for every iteration of outer loop, how many iterations will take place? I think 3 iterations will take place, 1 and 2 and 3. For every single iteration of outer loop, inner loop should finish its all iterations. How many iterations are there? That should be finished. Why? Because this part, this complete part of the code is belongs to what? This loop only, under this loop only. So for every iteration of outer loop, inner loop should finish its all iterations. That's the reason what will happen here. You can see this when we execute this, I value 1 and j value 2 times it will display here. So here nothing is displaying. Just wait. What's happening here? I'll tell you. For int I equals to 1, I less than 3, I plus plus. Now here I'm taking I value separate. And let's print it. What happened? Now you can see this is correct. So look at here. What is happening? The result is very clear. First control will jump into I value 1. So I value 1 is there. Okay. If I 1 less than or equal to 3, it is true. Once it is true, control will jump into inside the inner loop. J value started with 10. J value started with 10. Here J value. Okay. J value. Now here J less than or equal to 12. It is correct. Once it is correct, then what will happen? I value 1, J value 10. It's printing. I value 1, J value print. But you can see if j less than or equal to 13, so what will happen? Few more iterations will happen. Let's run this once again. Just based on the condition I'm using. J value less than or equal to 10 means only you can see this same 3 iterations will happen. Now you can see here I value 1, J value 10, 11, 12, 13. So in outer loop first iteration, it has to be finished inner loop all iterations 10, 11, 12, 13. Next, then only it will start next iteration of outer loop I value 2. Then J value again starts from 10, 11, 12, 13. I value 3. J value starts from 10, 11, 12, 13. For your clarity, more clarity I'm taking here. So let's go for this one. I equals to plus I. Now here I'm taking what we can say plus J equals to plus J. So let's run this one. You'll see this. So I value 1, J value 10. I value 1, J value 11. I value 1, J value 12. I value 1, J value 13. Means what will happen? For single iteration of I, inner loop should finish its all iteration. Then only outer loop is increment by 1, J plus plus. So J is value 2. Again, after J is become 2, 2 less than or equal to 3, it will check. Once it will check, again it will come to inside the inner loop. So J value, it has to be done 3, 4 more iterations. Again, next J is increment by 1, J plus plus. That is 3. 3 less than or equal to 3, it is true. That's what it will go to inner loop like 10, 11, 12, 13. Again, J is incremented by I will incremented by 1. I will become 4. 4 less than 3, that is false. Once it is false, it will go to out of the loop only. So what I mean to say, for every iteration of outer loop, inner loop should finish its all iterations. Let's check out while keeping breakpoint what happened. You can see this. I'm keeping breakpoint on 2 loops only. Let's run this one. First iteration is starts with what? I value 1. Look at here, I value 1. Now press F11. I'm going to press F11 where it will jump. It's conditional checking. Give me 1 second. I value 1. 1 less than or equal to 3. It is true. Once it is true, control immediately will jump into inner loop. J value starts with 10. Now 10 is a J value. Less than or equal to 13 is true. Once it is true, then it will go to where I value printed 1. J value printed 10. Next J is incremented by 1. So J will become 11. 11 value J less than 13, it is true. Now again I value 1, same iteration. J value, what is that? 11 only. Again press F11. J is going to become 12. So 12 less than or equal to 3, true. I value 1. You can say I value 1. J value what's that? 12 only. Again J will become increment by 1. 13 less than or equal to 13, true. Press F11. I value 1. J value 13. J is incremented by 1. J value 14. 14 less than or equal to 13, false. When it is false, immediately control jump into out of the outer loop next iteration. I is increment by 1. I will become 1. So now this time 2 will become like 2 less than 3, it is true. Once it is true, again inner loop should finish its all iterations. 4 more. After that, I increment by 1. I value will become now 3. Okay, 3 is there. Again, it will come to here 10, 11, 12, 13. 14 is false actually here. So this is false. Once it is false, what will happen? It will go out of the outer loop. Outer loop also is incremented by 1. Now 4 it will become. 4 less than 3 it is false. When it is false, control will jump into out of the loop. So this is the execution flow here. But strictly remember, one thing is very important. For every iteration of outer loop, for every iteration of outer loop, inner loop should finish its all iterations. Inner loop should finish its all iterations. So that's what here you can say I value 1, first iteration. Inner loop is finishing all iterations like J 11, 12, 13. I value 2, second iteration. Inner loop should finish 11, 12, 13. I value 3, inner loop should finish 11, 12, 13 like this only. Okay. So this is nested loop, we can call it as. This is for loop we can use, for loop. There is another loop is there. What is that? While loop is there. So while loop is very simple loop actually. So while loop is used to execute the number of statements keep on till the condition true. Okay, based on the condition, it's keep on executing the number of statements only till the condition is true. Once the condition is false, then what will happen? While loop is stop the iterations. But when do we go for loop and when do we go for while loop? I'm saying that clearly. Whenever as a programmer, whenever we have an idea, so number of iterations like fixed iterations, or else limited iterations, you know that clearly how many iterations are required, then we can go for loop. But when we go for while loop means unlimited iterations, like number of iterations not fixed, so it's keep on executing till the condition reaches to true. Once the condition is false, then control will jump into out of the loop. In that context, we can go for while loop. Understand? While loop. So, for example, you can see in database, we don't know how many records are there. Okay, just I want to retrieve 10 records. Still my condition is reaches I less than or equal to 10. I need to keep on read the records from database. Then we can go for while loop. Okay. So or else we can pass the condition while database dot records dot length how many records are there. Using that condition, we can keep on that read the records. But for loop is not like that. We have to pass that number of iterations clearly, or you have to specify the iterations. Then we can use for loop. So for loop and while loop, both loops are same, iterative statements only, but approach is different. So while loop condition syntax will look like only while loop. This is the syntax of while loop. I'll tell you. While loop. So while loop is used to execute number of statements till the condition is true. Then while condition open bracket close bracket, in the loops body we have to use statements here. Statements we can use number of statements. Now here I'm taking while loop here. I'm taking first initialization I'm doing int I equals to 1. My value should start from 1. Then you can see while I less than or equal to 10. I less than or equal to 10. Then I need to print a valid statement console.writeLine. Then I plus some space in between element to element. Now let's run this one. We are getting all number of statements. Once that 11 less than or equal to 10, it's false. Then control will jump into out of the loop only. So based on the condition, we are trying to get the values. Oh, it is going to be keep on one value is going to be continue. So I am not incrementing one value. So that's what I need to go for after printing one. So I need to increment by 1. So why? Because every time I need to increment 1. Without increment, then it starts with 1 less than or equal to 10. It's keep on continue the execution 1 1 1 only. You can see this whenever I'm keeping that comment section in the output. You can see while as I less than or equal to 10, then keep on print continuously I only. So we are getting I value only. You can see this 1 1 1 1. It's keep on printing now. So while loop is used to execute number of statements till the condition is true. Okay, so let's remove this one. Now every time I is increment by 1, it is going to check with while condition I less than or equal to 10. So it's going to print the 10 values clearly here. What is happening here? I value 1 initialization. Immediately condition will check 1 less than or equal to 10. It is correct. It's true only. Once it's true, it's print 1. Then after that I increment by 1. It is become 2. Again it will check the condition 2 less than or equal to 10. It is true only. Like this, it's happened like while loop condition, it's keep on execute the number of statement till the condition reaches to true. Once the condition reaches false, then it will jump into out of the loop only. We can say that this is while loop. But there is a do while loop is there. You can see this do while loop. Do while loop speciality is what you know. Before going to check the condition, loop's body is going to be execute. That's what in the do while loop. Before going to check the condition, at least one time if you want to execute the statement, then we can go for do while loop. Okay, but this is also not useful in our case. But let me show you. First, it will do what it will do. It will execute the statements of the loop's body, and after that, it will check the condition. That's what we will notice that before going to check the condition, at least two statements will execute once in the do while loop. That's the case I'm saying. Like you can see int I equals to 1. First, what it will do, you can see this. I'm going to use here instead of while, I'm going to do, and it will do what? Console.writeline I plus plus, I increment by 1. Then after that, checking the condition like I less than or equal to 10. This is the way to do this one. So before going to uh, check the condition, at least one time it will execute. First it will do, then after it will check the condition. While loop means first it will check the condition, then only it will print the values. That is the only difference between do while loop here. If you want to print at least one statements before going to check the condition, then we can go for do while loop. Otherwise, you can go for while loop only better. Okay, anyone you can use. And one more loop is there for each loop. But for each loop, this is not right situation to discuss. I'll discuss for sure that for each loop, most probably in the next session. Why? Because in the arrays concept, I will include this for each loop. So at the time, I will tell you clearly what is the difference between for each loop and for loop. There I can show clear differences while working with arrays concept. So array elements we can read by using for loop as well as by using for each loop. Both loop through we can read array elements, no problem at all. At that time, I'll include for each loop. So what is the main difference between for loop and for each loop? At that time, we'll discuss. Now you can see this now it's time to discuss break and continue transfer statements. This break and continue we can use inside the for loop or inside the while loop or any loop also you can use. But for just for clarity, I'm telling one simple example using for loop how to use break and continue. See what is the break first? These are the transfer statements. Means your control flow you can able to transfer from one place to another place. That is transfer statements. One is break and continue is there. First we'll talk about break. What is use of break? Break is used to stop the iterations. Yes, immediately it will stop the iterations even though further conditions are true. Even though further conditions are true, sir. Even though further conditions are true, then it is used to stop the iterations. What is the use of break? Break is used to stop the iterations even though further conditions are true. It's completely oh sorry. It's big mistake I'm doing. No, it's not correct. Sorry. Break is used to stop the iterations based on condition. Yeah, based on condition. See, for loop is used to print 10 elements. Then because I have written condition in for loop I less than or equal to 10. But I don't want to 10 because as per my requirement, I want to just print 5 values only. You can break it immediately. So that's what we are using break statement. Break is used to stop the iterations based on the condition. It's completely stop the iterations. But look at here, continue. Continue is used to skip the current iteration. Continue is used to skip the current iteration, current iteration, even though and continue with next iteration and continue with the next iterations. Yes, continue with next iterations. Next iterations. It will continue with next iterations. Only current iteration is going to skip based on your condition, provided condition, which iteration need to be stopped, that you can provide it, and it will skip that iteration only, and immediately it will continue with the next iterations. But break is not like that. It is used to stop the iterations based on condition, even though it can able to print further values also, but not. It will immediately stop the iteration. I'll show you one very simple example. You can see I'm trying to do this. Suppose here for loop, I'm taking for loop. Int I equals to 1. I less than 10 or equal to 10, I plus plus. Okay, this loop is able to print how many values, sir? Yes, you can see how many values it is going to print. Now I value I'm printing. Now 10 values it's printing now. This loop is going to print how many values? 10 values, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. But even it can be able to print 10 values, but I don't want to 10. As per my right now, my requirement is only 5 is enough. At that time, what I need to do? So I need to go for, you can see this, if condition after printing, if I equals to 5, then immediately what I need to do? Break. Break means what? It stop complete iterations now. So whenever I used to do this break statement, then it can immediately it will stop the iterations. Only 5, up to 5 is enough. Okay, because my requirement is even though this loop can able to print 10 values or 100 values, no matter. 5 is enough as of now. For this my requirement, current requirement purpose, only 5 is enough. That's what I'm taking. If I equal to 5, then it is break it now. That's it. Okay, so this is the break statement. But whenever I do continue, you can see this continue. Okay, so continue is used to skip the current iteration and it will continue with next iteration. So you can see whenever I reaches to 5, then immediately it will stop the current iteration. What is that current iteration? 5. 5 only it will skip, but it will continue with the next iterations. Now you can see in the output you don't find any 5. You can see 1 is there, 2 is there, 3 is there, 4 is there. But do you find 5? No 5. Why? Because I'm skipping that iteration. But sir, if I want to skip one more iterations like 7 or 8, then you can do this condition like I equals 7. Then I'm trying to do this continue. So we can see this continue. So in this output now, 5 value will not be displayed and 7 value will not be displayed. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is not there, 6, 7 is not there, 8, 9, 10 continuation iterations are there here. So this is the use of a continue statement and break statement. Clearly we say that. So when do we use break means if you want to stop the iterations only few values, if you want to display among several values, then you can use break. And continue means if you want to skip the current iteration, okay, based on your condition. And if you want to continue with the next iterations, next values, then you can go for that continue statements. These we can use break and continue using while loop, using for loop, both loops we can able to use it, no problem. Okay. So this is about complete conditional statements like control statements are there. Control statements are used to maintain the control flow of program execution. Once we use this all control statements in the program, as a programmer, you can have some control on it. But if you don't use these control statements, then you don't maintain any control flow of program execution. I'm saying that. Okay. So this is about today's session, what we discuss control statements. And in tomorrow's session, freshly I'll start arrays concept in C#.NET, arrays in C#.NET. Even if I start today's, so I can't able to finish even introduction part of arrays also. So let's continue in tomorrow's session, arrays in C#.NET here. Okay, tomorrow topic is arrays in C#.NET. And I strongly recommend those who attend new people. So I watched that videos 1 and 2 and 3 videos, basic videos. Okay. So Mr. Vijay Yadav and Rashmita, you can watch it and you can join tomorrow on same link and same time only. So we'll continue with this all the sessions clearly. So time duration is 2 months of this session and every day recorded video is going to be sent to your Google Drive, same recorded video, whatever I teach. And as I said that previously, every Monday to Friday. So C#.NET sessions will happen, and Friday, Saturday, weekend SQL Server sessions will happen. Okay, so this is from my side today. So we'll see tomorrow at same time, and tomorrow we'll take the class up to 8 o'clock. But every day 1 hour session is required. So sure that we'll continue with 8 o'clock. And I got a mail ID from Durga sir for which I got the mail ID. So I'll send all videos, recording videos and material up to know what we discuss. Okay, I'll give clear session numbers also, session 1, 2, 3, 4, and what we continue like this. And you can watch that orderly, so you will get clear idea. So if possible, you can share your mail ID, Rashmita and Vijay Yadav. For you also, I will send that previous videos what I recorded. So you can today you can watch it, and if you like, then you can able to continue from tomorrow onwards. That is better idea. So if you want, hello.
How much we have to pay for this course?
No, you can contact our Durga Soft people. They will assist you clearly. No problem at all. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You just please, if you want, you can share your mail ID so that I'll send all videos up to now what I discuss. You can watch it and please join tomorrow. Continuation is happening. I have your mail ID already. Uh, Yes, wait. And Divya, you also can you share your mail ID in the chat box so that I'll collect it and here and I'll send the videos up to now what we discuss. And Mr. Vijay Yadav also, you also. Yeah, yeah. And Divya, your mail ID also, I think I have already, my team was sent. And Mr. Vijay Yadav, I need your mail ID. Please, can you provide? So up to now, what I discuss, I'll send that videos. You can watch it and continue from tomorrow session. That's better. Are you there, Mr. Vijay? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, see you tomorrow on same link at same time.